Welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to look at 21 tools that I use. Some are free, some are just good value for money, but all of them are essential tools to help small businesses grow. So if you're a web designer working for a small business, if you do your own website for your own business, or if you're just wanting to grow your small business and wanting to know what tools I use, well then this is going to be a really useful video for you. So let's now explore what these 21 tools are that are essential to help grow your business. I'm Zane from Zanet Design, and I help small businesses grow on the internet, to grow their business and to really improve as best as they can, maybe with even a small budget. So today's 21 essential tools that will help you grow your business are going to be helpful for you. And in effect, they're the tools I'm using for the coming year. So what I want you to do is just have a look at these tools with me. I'll just mention each one. They're spread into different sections as well. And hopefully there'll be tools there that you've perhaps never considered. Maybe you'll want to try this year and they'll help grow your business. So here are the 21, and they're in no particular order other than I've sectioned them into various sections. And the first one is to do with websites itself and a CMS. So what CMS number one would I choose? Well, I'd recommend WordPress. WordPress is an excellent tool because the reason is it has so many supporters, there is so many free plugins to use, there is pretty much any type of theme that you wanted could be built for it. It has a great flexibility, and certainly for small businesses, WordPress would be my number one choice. So the majority of my clients use WordPress as the basis or the CMS content management system of choice. Number two, I would use the Yoast plugin. Now Yoast is a great little plugin that you can put into WordPress, and the reason being is it really helps from an SEO point of view. You can make sure you've got green lights that show that you're able to meet a certain criteria. And so if you're wanting to be serious about SEO with your business, a search engine optimization, then by adding some keywords into a box, you can then see whether or not your website or your web page is at least being relatively reasonably optimized for that particular keyword. So number two, Yoast plugin. The third area or tool that I use is SiteKit. Now this only came out about a month ago out of beta, so you may not be familiar with it. SiteKit's made by Google. So if you have analytics, if you use, Search Console, then these things give you kind of an idea of what keywords people are finding your website on. So if you wanted to make sure your business was being found for particular keywords that you're trying to optimize for, then this would be really useful. And the reason why SiteKit by Google works so well is because it sits within WordPress as a plugin. So if you want to know more about that, then there's a video above that will help you to see how to install and how to use SiteKit from Google. So that'll be my third suggestion of choice. My fourth tool that I use regularly is Ubersuggest. Now this comes from Neil Patel, who's an excellent digital marketer. He's produced this tool that is really helpful for those that want to perhaps find out about what people are searching for, what questions they're using, what keywords are being found on your competitors' websites. So Ubersuggest is my fourth tool of choice for this year. So far we've seen 4 tools that fall into kind of the WordPress or the website CMS category. But we're now going to look at the second category, which will be more to do with making blogs or news items and making sure that you're using the specific right keywords. A bit more to do with search engine optimization for the website itself. So you've probably got a blog area or a news area. These are the tools we're now going to look at that will help you in that sense. So my fifth tool is known as answerthepublic.com. Now answerthepublic.com or Answer the Public is a website that just, when you put in your keywords, it will now provide you with all sorts of variations of that. But these are much more longer tailed keywords. So the idea is that you probably aren't going to come up number one on some of the really sought after keywords. Like digital marketing is a really strong keyword. Or if you're a plumber, then plumbers, you're not going to come number one in Google for plumbers. But what this will do, it will take an alphabetical derision of that. So it might take, say, best plumbers in Bournemouth, or it might take, the greatest plumbers ever. It'll give you suggestions that you've never thought of before. But it also produces the who's, the why's, the where's. And as we've looked at other videos, that's really useful when it comes to voice search as well. So Answer the Public would be my best tool or the fifth tool to use when it comes to making sure you're using the right long tail keywords. The sixth one is Ubersuggest, again, which we've mentioned before, but it also has a facility to look at your website itself and to see what keywords it's using, and also to audit it as well. So you may find that as you've built up news items and you've added news to your website, that maybe you've forgotten some title tags, maybe you've forgotten some H2 tags or H1 tags, maybe you've forgotten some alt tags on the images. It will basically run a scan of your website. So as you've built your website up, as you've built your business up, you then run this scan by Ubersuggest. And what it does, it then just says, these are the things now that you need to amend. And if you then follow the instructions, it's going to help you to build a much more kind of search engine optimized site that is going to please the search engines. So things like making sure you've got sitemaps, making sure you've got alt tags dealt with, make sure you've not got any double content when it comes to descriptions on meta tags. All those things are covered when you run that particular audit. So it's a different part to Ubersuggest, but it's a great part to use when you want to audit your website. And finally, my seventh one when it comes to blogs and news is that as you begin to go up the search engines, if you make the top 10 at all, then also there'll be an opportunity for Google to look at your content and then to use that content, that schema that you've perhaps put in it, and it will use it as rich snippets or rich content. That means then it might serve up a table, it might serve up people who are also asking, or an FAQ. But to get those things in the first place, we'll go back to, again, reusing a tool we mentioned at the beginning, which is Yoast. Yoast plugin, which is used for SEO, also has the facility within the editor, if you turn it on, where you can add FAQs and how-tos, and it will give you the right schema so that then Google recognizes that. Now, if you want to know what that's all about, then there's a video which I'll put up above now, and that video will also tell you how you can go about introducing that into your website and your news. And that's the end of the news blog section. So we've looked at WordPress and websites for the main way of building a website for a business. Then we've looked at the fact that you can then add several things to get search engine optimization and keyword research done, and particularly do this through the blogs and the news and the additions that you add to the website. But now we're going to come on to our third section. Google My Business. Now, you'll know if you follow me that that's something that I've got a lot of videos about. And in fact, most people will agree that Google My Business is probably the most important thing at the moment for small businesses, particularly if you want to be found on a local basis. So my first tip, my eighth tool is Google My Business. And the reason why just claiming it is essential is because there are millions of unclaimed businesses out there. So you might think your business doesn't need Google My Business yet. But let me tell you now, the day you claim it is probably the most important tool that you're using for your business that day. So make sure you claim it. And then when you've claimed it, there's loads and loads of tips. I'm going to put some ones above, 13 tips that will get you started as to what you can do with Google My Business to benefit your business today. So claim Google My Business. So now you have Google My Business. The ninth tool is to use an index or a citation tool just to get seen, to get links to your Google My Business. And so that Google My Business can see you're an authority, you need to get your address, your website, and your name, your phone number, all those things need to be out there on some well-known indexes. So there's all sorts of indexes, but what I would suggest is if you go to Yale, this website here will give you quite a lot of information about how you can basically register, or whether you've registered correctly on these different various sites. So you want to be indexed, you want to be known, you want your business to have a consistency. And I'll put a link up in the top now, and that's to do with NAP, or name, address, phone number. If you don't have the consistency of those three things, then you'll find your Google My Business listing will not really grow in authority at all. So try to make sure that that's the case when you're listing your Google My Business. Make sure that you use a tool like Yelp. That will be my next suggestion. So my 10th suggestion, we're nearly halfway now, is Image Geo, or IMG-GEO. And this website's useful for just making sure that when you add images to your Google My Business listing, it just makes sure that you have it geotagged in the correct area. So again, we've looked at this before, but you'll notice that lots of images, when you upload them to your website, if you've taken them on your phone, the phone then will geotag where you took them. And that's a good thing if you're taking them from your office or around the area where you work. So for instance, if you are a plumber and you work in the Bournemouth area and you're taking photos of some of the plumbing you've done at various areas of Bournemouth, that's all going to be good when that gets uploaded to Google My Business. So if you have though got pictures and you're going to upload them to the website, make sure they're geotagged. And so this is a helpful little tool that will help you to make sure that you have the right location on when you upload those images. You might have manipulated an image, maybe changed a few things or cut it, and you may sometimes lose that information, particularly if it wasn't taken on a phone. But this particular tool can help you to cover that. So that's a great tip for you if you want to geotag your images. Now the 11th tool that I use is called iSearch. I've just discovered this one recently. And it's quite simple, really, that you may know where you exist in the Google 3-pack. So again, I've got a video there, which I'll put up above. You may know that you'll, say, if you do a search for, say, plumbers, that you come up number 1 when it comes to plumbers in your area. But what about, say, in the town centre? What about perhaps in a nearby village? What about if you went to a bigger city? Would you still be number 1? Well, probably not. But you can start to find where you are in that location scheme by using this iSearch tool. So iSearch is a really useful tool. It's basically simulates the using of Google search from any different area you want. You could even see who's coming up number 1 in, say, Brazil. It just means that you can go to a different geographical location and then see where you come up on the listings. And obviously that's more ideal for just the local area, but it might mean that you want to get out of a 1-mile area and be number 1 in a 2-mile area. So those are the types of things that you might use it for. Really useful if you want to see how search results look in Google from different countries, different areas, different towns. Now for my 12th tool, it comes under the heading of browsers. So what browser should a small business use, or a web designer use, if he wants to really improve his business? Well, I mean, there's arguments for all sorts, but I would say Chrome is the most useful browser for a person who wants to just be able to tweak things. And the reason I would encourage Chrome is a few things. One is the extensions you can get with Chrome are really useful, and we'll see 3 or 4 tool extensions in a moment that are going to help you in other areas. But secondly, because with Chrome, you can view the source and you can even edit the source and see how the website looks when you're in, say, a mobile. You can see how it looks if you just change some of the styles within it as well. It's just an overall helpful tool that can help you in various ways, but also because Chrome has these extensions that, again, are well supported. So my suggestion would be to use Chrome if you're going to use a browser. That would be the tool that I would use in the coming year. Now for my 13th tool, it's a well-known one. It's YouTube. Because again, we're being encouraged to think more and more about how clients, customers want to visit your website. And the majority of businesses now will benefit if they use video on their website. So whether it's just a person talking like I am now, or whether it's perhaps showing how something's done or how well you've done a particular thing, to help a client, or the types of services you do, and you show a video of how it works. Video is really growing. In fact, it's interesting to know that even though Google is the #1 search engine, do you know what the #2 search engine is? Well, you might think of Bing, you might think of Ask Jeeves, you might come up with all sorts of other search engines. But actually, YouTube is the second biggest search engine. Now you might say, well, it's not a search engine. But actually think about it. How often have you gone to YouTube and put on there, how do I change a tyre on my car? Or how do I fix a leaking radiator? The point is people are searching in Google. It gets the second most amount of search terms out of all other search engines. So #1 is Google. #2, did I say Google? I meant YouTube. #2 is YouTube. But guess who owns YouTube? Come on, it's obvious. Google. So Google has #1 and #2. The point is if Google owns YouTube and then you don't have any YouTube videos, you haven't got a YouTube channel, well then it could just be that you're missing out again in working with Google. So that would be my recommendation, is set up a YouTube channel. It's easy enough. Brand it so it works along with your business, and then just take a few videos on your phone, maybe when you're doing some work, and just upload them to the YouTube channel. And then you can integrate quite easily the YouTube video into your website. Now, if you want to know how to do that, again, I've got a video that shows you how you can integrate your YouTube video into your website. So I'll put the link up above. And I've even got in one of those videos to show you how you can do it so it works on a mobile, so it works on a phone, on a tablet, on various devices, because YouTube's video itself, if you put it in there, it doesn't expand according to the width of the size. And I've managed to come up with a little style sheet hack that will deal with that too. So you might find that useful in the link above. So the 14th one is, if you're growing your video and you're growing your YouTube channel, then you need to consider what can you do to make sure that you are using the right keywords. Is there a way of knowing whether something is difficult to rank for in YouTube, because you're trying to get maybe more subscribers, more followers. And as we talk about that, again, if you haven't subscribed already to this YouTube and you're enjoying this channel, you're enjoying this particular video even, then make sure you just press the subscribe button, which is in the bottom corner, or down below, you probably see a link for subscribe. And also you'll notice a little bell there. And if you just click the bell, it notifies you of when the next video comes out as well. So if you're enjoying this video, make sure you subscribe, because again, you'll then benefit from the next video I release. But anyway, on that basis, there are 2 tools that you can use that will really help grow your YouTube channel. The first one is vidIQ. So vidIQ just looks at keywords. It gives you kind of an audit. It shows you what videos people are watching on your YouTube channel. So that's vidIQ. And you can get an extension in Chrome for that. So that's the 14th one a tool that I use. And the 15th one is called TubeBuddy. So TubeBuddy, again, very useful. It has a really good, helpful forum as well you can go to. A place where you can show your latest videos, a place where you can chat about various things. TubeBuddy runs its own YouTube channel where they help you to analyse how you can improve in your YouTube channel. vidIQ is very good at auditing your channels for free as well. So I had a channel audit a few weeks ago where they look at your YouTube channel and they say, well, these are the things that can improve. They particularly look at the thumbnails and so on. So those are 14 and 15. Those tools are extensions you can get that fit within Chrome and are really useful then when you visit your YouTube channel. So for the next section, we're looking at images. So I'm sure your business probably needs some sort of imagery. You can use all these various iStock and Getty images, and you can purchase images in and royalty-free images. In fact, there's a video above now that shows you several places where I go to get my free images or royalty-free images. But what we're looking at here is actually how can we use and manipulate images. And I have to say, as a designer and designing websites, I would always use Photoshop. And you'll find the majority of web designers still use Photoshop. So I purchased Photoshop and then I use that, and I find that's really useful. So that'll be my next tool of choice for the coming year as well. You can get subscriptions to Photoshop. You can get even free replacements for it. But again, whatever you're happy with. But you do need some type of image manipulation so that you can optimize it and so that you can then really add text, images, everything so that you can get it basically saved in a format that you want. So Photoshop would be my tool of choice. My 17th tool is called Full Page Capture. And this is a really handy little extension for Chrome. So this is why I use Chrome. You get some really good extensions here. And the reason I like this is it doesn't just capture your screen, but it captures the whole screen. So sometimes you want just to capture everything on a website and you want to take bits out of it, or you want to show to a person, especially if you're a web designer, you want to show them how it looks with the changes. Then to get a full screen is really useful. Then you can edit it in Photoshop and so on and just show how it looks. So full screen capture is my tool of choice as a web designer. But again, I know some of you are running small businesses, so you may not need that, but you might want to suggest that to your web designer if you're not a web designer yourself. Now, my 18th tool is Google Drive. And I use Google Drive because I like Google products. I like the fact that you can use various documentations on there. So you can use like a Word or an Excel version in Google Drive, or Google Docs, in effect, is an extension that works within Google Drive. But Google Drive is just purely for storage. With the amount of images, with the amount of websites I do, and it may be that you want to store all of your images for your website. You get a limited amount of free storage with Google Drive, but for me, to back up websites, to do all sorts of things, Google Drive is universally useful. It means I can store the highest quality images. And also the nice thing with Google Drive is you can share it with others. You can get them to collaborate with various files. Dropbox, again, would have been my second choice, and I use Dropbox as well. And I find a lot of clients prefer Dropbox to Google Drive, but both are great. But I probably just come out slightly on top at the moment. Google Drive would be my next tool of choice when it comes to storing files online or in the cloud. Okay, so for the last few things, I'm going to look at emails. So what emails or email client would I use? Well, I use Gmail. Why do I use Gmail? Well, one, it's free. Two, it's got an online type of anti-spam. So for example, it pretty much knows what spam is and it works out based on other users reporting spam. So if someone sends out spam and 100 people have already said this is spam, then by the time it gets to my inbox, it's probably already designated as spam. So it's got an online spam filter, which many of them have now. But also Gmail, you can have extensions, a bit like Chrome. You can add extensions on that are really useful as well. And the nice thing with Gmail is you can also integrate it with other POP3 or various other ways of integrating email accounts. So if you've got some professional email accounts that are your business account as well, then rather than having to go to different places to get your email, you can get them all from within Gmail. And the nice thing of Gmail, of course, is in the cloud. So if you're abroad and you want to see what your business emails are saying as well, you can access it through adding an account through Gmail. So Gmail is pretty much universally able to do anything that you require via email. So that'd be my next choice for email is Gmail. Now, one of the reasons why I use Gmail is because it also can act or double up as a CRM. And that happens if you use an add-on or an extension called Streak. So I recommend Streak as a CRM solution. And what it means then is that you've got all your emails that are floating around from customers, maybe some are in a various line of process, some perhaps haven't agreed a price with you yet, others just want a quote. It can get such a muddle if you have nothing there to organise it. But Streak is a superb CRM, and I'd recommend that, and it works really well with Gmail. And my final tool, or the final thing that I'm going to cover really is how do I invoice for my business. Now, again, there are a few that I could select. Xero was a really good choice I had for many years. At the moment, I use ClearBooks. But again, there are so many choices you can have. But ClearBooks is useful. I like the way it works. It's pretty much out of the box. You just click on a few things And it's good value for money, I say, Clearbox. Xero is another really good one as well. But if you want to go for perhaps something that works and invoices nicely, then Clearbooks would be my point of choice at the moment. So in conclusion, and there's 21 tools that I'm using currently and I'll be using for the coming year. There are many others as well, obviously, but it's just surprising how we take many of these things for granted. Hopefully, you've been able to see some ideas there, and maybe there's some tools that you've never used. So I would suggest try using them. If you've come up with something that's better, if you found something that I haven't considered, then put them below in the comments. I want to hear what it is that you've found that's useful for you. And also, I'm interested to know, is my audience on this video, is it businesses, small businesses, where you run the website yourself and you're interested in the types of tools I'm using? Or are you, say, designers, web designers and developers, and you're interested to know how I'm running my business? So there's kind of two audiences here that this video may appeal to, but I really want to know which audience is it that you belong to, and what is it you'd like to see me do in my next video. Thanks for watching. Please look at any of my other videos, the ones I mentioned before in the eye above, or the ones now that are on the side of the screen. And I'll hopefully see you again soon. Thanks and bye.